Long ago, in a jungle far away, there lived a pack of jackals, and they obeyed their jackal nature that dwelt in their stomachs, and they looked for food. They scavenged for meat left by animals that hunted, which meant that they were despised by the other animals and the birds. They were seen as unclean and impure. But as they were scavenging, their nature started to move from their stomachs, because above them the moon was sitting, and she was round and full-bellied, and the nature of the jackals rose up into their throats and into their mouths, and they lifted their heads to the full moon, and they When they had finished howling, their jackal nature returned and descended down into their bellies once more, and they went back to scavenging. But as they were scavenging, one of the jackals became separated from the pack. He found himself scavenging outside the jungle. He found himself scavenging in a village. In this village lived not only people, but also a pack of dogs, and the pack of dogs picked up the scent of an unclean and impure jackal in the village. They followed the scent until they saw the jackal. The jackal looked and saw the pack of dogs as they snarled, and they barked. The jackal was ready for them to pounce on him, and he ran with all his heart. He ran as fast as he could to get away from the dogs. And as he ran, he kept looking over his shoulder to make sure that he had lost the dogs. But in looking over his shoulder as he ran, he forgot to look ahead of him. And he fell over and fell into a vat of vile liquid. His head went under the liquid and he came out, he spluttered and splattered, and the owner of the vat was the tailor in the house next door. The tailor heard the commotion and came out and saw in his vat of dye a jackal. The tailor was furious. "You are ruining my vat of indigo blue dye," he shouted. "Get out!" The jackal, who had gone right under the dye so that the tips of his ears were under it and had swallowed it in his mouth and down into his throat, jumped out of the vat and ran away. But it really was not the jackal's day, because he found himself running into the dogs. But instead of snarling and barking at him, they whimpered and whined and backed away, terrified of him. The jackal didn't understand what was going on, but he took advantage of the moment and ran out of the village. As he ran, he was wondering why the dogs were so scared of him, but he was also thinking about that mouthful of dye that he had taken in and how disgusting his mouth felt, and he wanted some water. Near the village and the jungle, there was a river. The people of the village and beyond used it for transport. The humans and the animals all drew water from the river to wash and to drink, and the jackal wanted to drink to wash that disgusting taste from his mouth. He went down to the bank of the river and was about to take a drink of water when he noticed his reflection. It was not the reflection of the jackal who had run into the village. It was the reflection of the jackal who ran out of the village, having fallen into a vat of indigo blue dye. He was bright blue, a bright blue jackal. Bright blue, the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods. No wonder the dogs were terrified of him. And then he wondered, I wonder how the other animals of the jungle will treat me, now that I am the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods. And so, with new confidence, he walked into the forest. As he was walking through the jungle, he met Tortoise. Tortoise saw before her a bright blue creature, the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods. And Tortoise said, "Who or what are you?" And Jackal said, "I am Panchatantra. I am the moonlight. I am the embodiment of the rays of the moon, and I have been sent by the gods, and you must serve me." "If you have been sent by the gods," said the tortoise, "I must serve you." And Jackal said, "Panchatantra is tired of walking. Panchatantra will ride upon your shell, and Panchatantra will use your shell as his throne." So Tortoise carried Jackal through the jungle, and on their way they went. They met Tiger, and Tiger saw a bright blue creature, the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods. And Tiger said, "Who or what are you?" And Jackal said, "I am Panchatantra. I am the moonlight. I am the embodiment of the rays of the moon. The gods have sent me, and you must serve me." And the tiger, who normally would chase away the impure and unclean Jackal, bowed to Jackal and said, "If you are sent by the gods, then I must serve you." So now Jackal rode on the back of Tortoise, with Tiger walking alongside. And as they went, they met Lion, and Lion saw a bright blue creature, the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods. And Lion said, "Who or what are you?" And Jackal said, "I am Panchatantra. I am the moonlight. I am the embodiment of the rays of the moon, and you must serve me." And Lion, who would normally chase away the impure and unclean Jackal, bowed to him and said, "If you are sent by the gods, then I must serve you." And so now Jackal rode on the shell of Tortoise through the jungle, with Lion and Tiger walking beside him. And this was the story for every animal and bird they met. Every animal and bird, whether it was owl or elephant, all of them saw this creature of bright blue, the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods, and had asked who or what he was, and had received the answer, "I am Panchatantra, I am the moonlight, I am the embodiment of the rays of the moon, I am sent by the gods, and you must serve me." And all of them did. And the Jackal didn't want to scavenge for food anymore, so he sent the animals of the earth and the birds of the air to go and fetch him food. The birds gave feathers, and Monkey took the feathers and tied them together to make a fan to keep Jackal cool in the heat of the day. And this went on for a whole month. The animals and the birds serving him day after day, night after night. But for this month, the night sky had been cloudy, and the moon had hardly shown herself to the jungle. But now, exactly 1 month after Jackal had fallen into a vat of indigo blue dye, the sky was clear, and the moon was there, hanging in the sky. Round and full-bellied, she shone down on the trees of the jungle, and Jackal felt his jackal nature reaching up inside him. The animals of the earth and the birds of the air were busy serving him, but he felt his jackal nature reaching into his mouth. He felt that he had to look up, and so he did. He looked up at the moon, and he... howled at the moon. The animals and the birds stopped what they were doing and stared at him. Jackal looked at them. He looked from bird to animal, from animal to bird, but it was too late. They had heard him howl. They had heard his true nature, and even if he was the colour of divinity, the colour of eternity, the colour of the gods, he was really only a jackal that happened to be blue. And so they fell upon him. Some versions of this story say that the animals and birds tore him limb from limb and piece from piece. Others say that they exiled him, sent him away from the jungle so that the beasts of the earth and the birds of the air would never have to look at him again. You can choose whichever ending you like. But perhaps the blue jackal is still wandering alone, hoping to find someone who will accept him as a blue jackal. But whatever the ending, we would do well to remember that whether we are jackal or tortoise or lion or tiger or elephant or owl or monkey, if we deceive others, then at some point our true nature will inevitably rise up into our throats and our mouths and be revealed from our lips. And that is the story of the blue jackal, and that is how we told it to you.